archipelago with more than 7,000 islands is one of the home of the famous authors in the world of literature. And together with the unforgettable moments in our history, from wars to colonization to freedom, our literature evolves too. Good day, students. I am Miss Magie Ladimo. Let us all find out who contributed to the rise of the many forms of literature we have known and loved. The richness of the Filipino literature dates back pre-colonial times. In this time, traditions and customs are the main themes used for literature, both in written text, through bamboo cylinder, dried leaves, and bark of the trees, or handed down by word of mouth.
The first Filipino alphabet, called Alibata, was replaced by the Roman alphabet. The literature was said to be indigenous because it is based on traditions and customs of a particular area of the country. This is because the Philippines is an archipelagic country consisting of more than 7,107 islands. Each island has its own specifications of cultures and tradition, bearing different set of native literature. There were two literary forms during this pre-colonial period. Written literatures composed of like riddles or bugtong. So these are effective ways to inculcate the ability of logical thinking of a child. Epigrams or salawikain, so it reflects hidden meaning through the lines, provides good values. We also have poems or tanaga. So these are common forms of poetry, which is a quatrain with 7 syllables, each with the same rhyme at the end of each line. And then it also expresses insights and lessons in life. We also have oral literatures, chant. It is actually used in witchcraft and enchantment.
Sikaon awad nga tu mansanib konan nga chano dosayan mansanib konan nga chano dosayan
Then we have Balagtasan. It is actually derived from the surname of Francisco Balagtas Baltazar, the famous author of the Filipino epic Florante at Laura. It is actually a form of a debate done in verse form.
Of Spanish colonization started with the deprivation of the indigenous Philippine literature and monopolized under the religious rule. The Western culture of the Spain and the rise of Christianity are the focus of the many literature outputs from this period. One of the earliest printed book in the country is the Doctrina Cristiana, written in a paper made from mulberry by a Spanish named Juan de Plasencia. This book contains the basic principles of the Catholic Church, like the Ten Commandments, sacraments, and a brief catechism about the religion. The only existing copy of this book is now based in the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
There are also Libro de Lengua Tagala by Fernando Bagong Banta. It is actually a Tagalog translation to the Spanish line, but still the superiority of the Spanish language. We also have Passion. It is actually influenced by the Spanish context of Christianity. At least they embodied several Filipino sentiments and values.
Poong makapangyarihan, lumikha ng sanlibutan, lupa'y iyong inilagay, nang matatag at matibay sa tubig ng karagatan. Ang lahat ng mga bagay dito sa mundong ibabaw may bakas ng iyong karigtaan, pagkat ang may-ari ikaw, Diyos na makapangyarihan.
During these 333 years of colonization under the Spaniards, we actually experienced oppression. And these came our national heroes.
The years leading to the downfall of Spanish colonization is the time where most writers composed their texts about rejection, rebellion, and freedom. La Solidaridad is the lead group with Graciano Lopez Haina, Marcelo H. Del Pilar, and its leader, our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Rizal's powerful books of Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo became the most influential books that triggers Filipinos to fight for the freedom and rejection of the Spanish rule.
Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo made very powerful contribution among the Filipinos, the introduction of rejecting the Spanish rule.
Sakay tayo sa lalong madaling panahon. Ililigtas natin si Dr. Rizal! Mabuhay si Dr. Rizal! Mabuhay ang katipunan! Hanggang kamatayan!
And these novels influence the succeeding writers. We have Marcelo H. Del Pilar in his Pasyong Dapat Ipag-alab ng Puso. This expresses his rebellious writing style. We also have Pascual Poblete, Patnubay sa Binyagan, associated Filipino struggles for independence with Jesus' life. The narrative poems of Awit and Corrido talk about world of royals, warriors, and lovers, the basic concept in Florante at Laura.
As the fall of Spaniards started, Americans gained the rule of the country. Philippine literature preserved and modernized with the use of the English language and theme of patriotism and reforms, as seen to the poems of Fernando Maria Guerrero and Jesus Balmori.
The Philippine literature in Spanish was starting to lose its shock for the first decade. The poem of Fernando Maria Guerrero, Balmori's Sediciojo La Flor Novel, and many others discuss revolutions and sentiments for patriotism and reform prove that Philippine literature was used to claim freedom from the colonizers. Even if the Philippine literature was written in English, the preservation of the content for Filipino experiences was achieved. Short story writers in English like Manuel Arguilla in his A Son is Born was one of the foundation of the Philippine literature, not in Tagalog or in Spanish, but during this time in English. Poetry is English was also founded. Zarzuela, which was actually an influence from the Spaniards, was overpowered by the English drama.
day in Manila, where thousands wait to hear the proclamation of independence. President Roxas, right, with Senator Tidings, who sponsored the Independence Bill, and General MacArthur, who liberated the Filipino people from the Japanese.
With this ceremony, a new nation is born.
July 4, 1946, the Republic's Day for the Philippines has regained its freedom and its chains to the past broken, and our literature supposed to be memorable marked with the struggle of mind and spirit by the sudden emancipation from the enemy. The rise of Tagalog language as medium of Philippine literature revived during the Japanese period, with its starting themes of poverty and brutality under the Japanese rule.
We have Philippine Cross Section, a collection of prose and poetry by Maximo Ramos and Florentino Valeros. Prose and poems by Nick Joaquin, Philippine Writing by Agkawili, Philippine Harvest by Amador Daggio, Horizons List. It's actually a collection of works by the professors of UE, mostly in English, short stories, essays, research papers, poem, and drama by Artemio Pataxil and Silverio Baltazar. The themes of most poems dealt with the usual love of nature and of social and political problems. Toribia Manio's poem showed deep emotional intensity.
I have proclaimed martial law in accordance with the powers vested in the President by the Constitution of the Philippines.
Started in the 1970s, the Philippines, through literature, revealed the burning issues of exploitations and injustice through novels, poems, and short stories. Martial law in 1972 drives the Filipino youth to be activists, to ask for changes in the government, and the Philippine literature with its authors tied up in silence by force. Many authors and activists risked their lives to reveal the sickening and disturbing situation of this time. Nick Joaquin, Bienvenido Santos, and Gregorio Brillantes lead the remaining voice of literature. The film and TV industry became the escape of many authors to dramatize their writings and the showcase of the Philippines and the world how hard and how drastic the situation during the dictator rule.
Comics, magazines, and other publications in this period donned new forms. News on the economic progress, discipline, culture, tourism, and the like were favored more than the sensationalized reporting of killings, rape, and robberies. We have Maynila sa mga kuko ng liwanag, written by Edgardo Reyes and filmed under the direction of Lino Broca. Bembol Rocco was the lead role. Minsay Isang Gamo-Gamo. Nora Honor was the principal performer here. Ganito Kami Noon, Paano Kayo Ngayon, led by Christopher De Leon and Gloria Diaz. We also have Insyang by Hilda Coronel. Aguila, led by Fernando Poe Jr., Jay Ilagan, and Christopher De Leon.
It is after deliberate, sober judgment and soul-searching that I come before you and say, it is now time to terminate martial law.
The end of martial law in 1981, authors find freedom to openly express their disappointment and criticism to the government, couched in fiery, colorful, violent, and insulting language. Film industries continues to be popular with the unabated love of Filipinos for sexual films.
Filipino songs dealt with themes that were really true to life, like those of grief, poverty, aspirations for freedom, love of God, of country, and of fellow men.
People Power Revolution in February 1986 lead to the big twist in the Philippine history and literature. Freedom is regained and now the main power of the people to express their feelings and emotions through literature. The old oral and written form of literature takes a bold move to be more engaging to Filipinos, from balagtasan to spoken word poetry, flip-top, pick-up lines, and more. The explicit language many writers today use became the medium for understanding of the readers, listeners, and viewers. We have seen how the Philippine literature evolve and grow. And now, as a student of the 21st century world, we should appreciate and value how many literary books, novels, even musics and movies came from. The richness, color, and importance of literature in the lives of Filipinos proves that we have something to showcase to the world. I am Miss Magie Ladimo, and see you next time.